Go ahead, they'll hop on.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Express Assistance Training. I'm John Pepe. I'm with Holy Family Conference and a member of the CMS support team. Today's training obviously is focused all around Express Assistance, but in the past, over the last 9 months, we have done, well, this will be the 10th one of our training sessions that we've done on Express Assistance, focused specifically on a topic that we've heard that you really want us to discuss and want to learn more about. So you can see on the left-hand side of the slide there, those are all the training sessions that we have completed. And by the way, there are videos and handouts out on the CMS support community website. So if you missed any of these and you want to learn more about any one of those topics, all you need to do is go out to the support community website and you'll see the video and the handout, and you can do that at your leisure. So there is a wealth of resources there if any of those are of any interest to you. On the right-hand side are the training sessions that we have planned that are upcoming. Red Flag, CMS community website, beginner case workers. And then we're going to run, this is a new idea, we're going to run Ask the Expert Q&A series, one in case intake, one in case worker, and one in treasury. We haven't yet decided just how we're going to do that because we want to do that in an organized fashion, but this is your opportunity to ask a question that, or questions that have been bothering you that you wanted to get some answers to around these specific areas of the system. And the last but not least is probably the most important. We need your input. You need to tell us what's important to you. Like I said, we've been creating these based upon what we think we're hearing. But if you have any ideas in any kind of sessions that you would like to see us do, go ahead and just put them in the chat session, chat room, and Amanda will take a look at them and we'll evaluate them and see if there's a base of users that are interested in that same topic. So that's really important. So if you have any ideas, let us know. Okay, so today's agenda. First, going to review the handouts. Then we're going to review and Express Assistance roles and functions. Then we're going to enter an Express Assistance without a case. Then we're going to search and delete Express Assistance. And then we're going to enter one with a case and then prepare and download the in-kind eligibility report. So let's go to review the handouts. You should have received 3. One is this presentation. The other one is an Express Assistance for Caseworkers documentation. I actually lifted that from the online user guide. We are going to enter an Express Assistance with a case that caseworkers typically do, and that's the documentation that goes along with it. So that was in the online user guide. And the last one is Express Assistance for Treasurers example. I'm not going to cover that. That is for you to look at. It's an example of what ends up on the monthly financial report as it relates to Express Assistance. So if you are not a treasurer and you want to pass it on to your treasurer, feel free to do so. Okay? So let's talk about the roles and the functions. There's actually 3 roles, one of 3 roles that you will need to execute any Express Assistance transaction. There's an Express Assistance provider role that you can be assigned to by your conference administrator, and that will give you access to be able to enter an Express Assistance transaction, download in-kind eligibility report, and search and delete Express Assistance. That's what you can do with that role. If you are a manager, you do everything that the provider can do, but you can also prepare and download the in-kind eligibility report. There is a difference between the download and the preparation of it. The manager actually prepares it. the provider cannot prepare the report. The provider can download it, and obviously the manager can download it, but the manager's responsibility is to actually prepare it. And the last one is, if you are a caseworker, you still have the ability to enter an express assistance transaction when you're on the client tab, and I will show you this, and there is an express button that you click, and that's how you would get there. So those are the roles that you need to do express assistance. If you don't have any of those roles, you won't even see the options on your menu to do it. Okay, so I just put together things you should know list before we kind of get into this. So express assistance is for in-kind assistance only, not financial assistance. And I define it as stuff donated to the conference. That could be furniture, that could be clothes, that could be food, that could be whatever is donated to your conference that you did not use conference funds to go out and purchase. It's typically used for non-financial client assistance and special works programs, i.e. your Thanksgiving program, your Christmas program, your backpack program, your soup kitchen program, whatever you consider to be a special works program. That's typically how users use the express assistance function, besides for clients. You must have an EA provider, manager, caseworker roles. We talked about that. You can enter express assistance with or without a case. And I'll be explaining that. But you know, a metaphor I like to use when we talk about with or without a case. You're in a grocery store and there's two lines, right? I mean, there's one with, you go into the line with the cashier, or you can go into the express line. If you go into the one with the cashier line, well, that cashier is going to scan in your items and they're going to bag your food or your items for you. Full service, right? And that's typically what you get with a case. It's a full service kind of thing. Well, if you went into the express line in the grocery store, you're going to scan in your own items and you're going to bag your own items yourself. No one's going to do that for you. So you get there faster by going through the express line, but you're going to give up some things as well, which means that when you go through that express without a case, that information is not recorded on the client's record. That's what you're going to give up. So let me move on, and that's obviously was the next bullet, was express assistance with no case does not update the record, the client's records past assistance. So that's in the metaphor, going through the express line, bagging your own items, you know, scan them all in, but you're going to give up not having that as a past assistance on the client's record. The other thing that you should know is that as a byproduct of entering in express assistance transaction, it automatically updates the monthly financial report and the annual report and the in-kind visits and services totals. That's done automatically. And the eligibility report, which we will go over, includes all in-kind, not just express assistance, but also the in-kind that you might have entered in as part of a normal case when you were providing the client with financial assistance and also maybe some in-kind assistance. And that report is only for those cases that went through the system. That is only for closed cases, not open cases. Okay. So that's just some things that I thought you should know. This last slide, before I get into the demo, is just my very weak attempt showing off my Excel skills of when you do have the in-kind eligibility report, how you can slice and dice it, if you will. Like in this case, I sorted by the type. So you can see all food, and then you see a subtotal, and then all gift card, food, and then a subtotal, yada, yada, yada. But once you have it in a CSV/Excel file, you could do whatever you want to do to create a report. That is the only purpose of that. Okay? So we're going to do a demo now and see how this whole thing all works, right? Okay, so you're all familiar with this. This is our homepage, if you will. And again, if you have the role of Express Assistance provider or Express Assistance manager, you will see this. If you have the provider role, you will see this line item added to your main menu. If you have the Express Assistance provider role, you will see that line item, prepare the in-kind eligibility report. Because like I said, the manager could do everything that the provider can do, but the manager is the only one that can prepare the in-kind eligibility report. So you need a manager's role in order to do this. All you need is a provider's role to do that, the Express Assistance. So I would click on Express Assistance, takes you to the entry screen. Let's kind of like just do a tour first before we get into actually entering any data. Obviously, my conference name is there. I could change conferences. So if you are a member that works in multiple conferences, you can change back and forth to the different conferences. As I said, as a provider, all I can do is download the eligibility report, and then we'll get into the submit in a bit. So there are two things we're going to do. We're going to enter in Express Assistance for an individual. So let's pretend someone came in that they were looking for food, and you're not going to open up a case on them. So you're going to use Express Assistance, because all you want to do is get it into the system, have it update the reports, which it will update the monthly financial report, and it'll update the annual report. But you don't want to go through the entire case management process, which includes case intake and also the case work. So we're going to enter one in for Brittany. I'm making this up. Kelly. Okay. You don't have to enter in date of birth if you don't want to. It's not a required field. By the way, you should know this by now, but anything with a star, an asterisk, means it's a required field. Okay. You don't have to enter in the social security number, not a big deal, but you do have to enter in number of household members. Okay. So let's say Brittany had 4 people in the household. Now, I'm just going to show you something, a little flaw in the system, but you need to be on guard, especially when you're entering in big numbers. I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look at what happens when I enter in 5. 1 goes away, 6. It's truncated, okay? And the reason why I tell you that is because at the end of the year, I got a call and somebody wanted to know why we helped 10,000 people for an Express Assistance transaction. I said, I don't know, let me go find out. Well, sure enough, the user entered in 10,000 instead of 1,000. And that's only because this field isn't big enough. So it's no big deal when you're working with an individual client, because they're going to have 3, 4, 5, 7 people in the family. But it is a big deal if you're going to use Express Assistance to enter in the number of people you help for a specific program, like Thanksgiving, like Christmas, like Angel Tree, whatever. So in this case, we'll make it real simple. We'll say 5 people, and then date is required. It automatically puts in today's date, but you can go back as far as you want. The system will not stop you. You can even cross fiscal years, which I think is a bad thing, but you can do that. So obviously, what I would advise you is to keep it within the fiscal year, because that's what's going to get reported on the annual report. Okay, so with Brittany, we have a resource column here, and these are all of our in-kind assistance, Express Assistance types. You can see there's a bunch of vouchers, gift cards, There's the infamous other, in case it doesn't fall into any category. You got clothing, food, furniture. That's what you can choose from. It is the same list that you will see when you go through the casework function and you're entering in an in-kind transaction. That's the same list, but it happens to reside here. So we might want to give Brittany food. We gave her food, and let's say we value a bag of food at $50. We gave her a food card. That's for $25. And we gave her a gas voucher. And that's maybe $60. Gas is expensive these days, as we all know. Okay, and that's all that's required. That's it. And then you would click submit. Now, going to call your attention up here. This is the Express Assistance reference number, or sort of like a mini case number, if you will. It's always prefaced, if you ever see in a case number column and you see an XPR, you know that came from Express Assistance, because it won't have a case number. There isn't a case. We didn't open up a case. And then obviously the year in some random number. So that's what you should be aware of there. Okay? So we just click OK. And by the way, if I didn't like that, I could just click delete and start over again. This isn't updating any client record whatsoever. I want to be clear. That's what you're going to give up when you're entering in transactions through Express Assistance. No client record is being updated at all. So if you called up that client and you looked at the past assistance, you would not see this transaction as part of their past assistance. Okay, we're going to do one more. And this one's going to be a program. Okay. So it's going to be 2022 Thanksgiving. Okay, same thing, required field is number of household. Well, because this was a Thanksgiving program, let's say that you actually helped 100 people. And that's probably reasonable, because figure about 3 people per family, and maybe that's about 30 families, 35 families, whatever. You're just trying to get in this information so it will be recognized on the annual report and on the monthly financial report. That's the reason why we're doing this, or else your annual report is going to be understated. You actually did help people, and it wouldn't show it if you didn't enter it into the system somewhere. So let's say we helped 100 people. We'll leave the date as it is. Let's say it was food, and let's say 100 people, and maybe it was $30 per whatever you bought. So it's $3,000. Not that you bought, but was given to you that you gave them. Again, this is in kind. And you value that at $3,000. And maybe, once again, you gave usually a gift card too, and maybe you value that at $1,000. Okay. And then you would click submit. And once again, I could delete it if I want, or just click OK. But I just showed you 2 ways of using Express Assistance the entry. One is on an individual basis. And by the way, that could be a client or a non-client. The client, I know at Holy Family, we have a lot of people that walk through the door asking for a bag of food. They're not clients. They'll never be clients. They haven't come in looking for any financial assistance. All they want is a bag of food. And this is a way of getting it into the system as an individual. Or you can actually do it in bulk, and that's for your programs. And this is a good way to get those programs and recognize how many people you helped into the system, so they'll get reported on the annual report and the monthly financial report. Okay? So that's the Express Assistance. Next, we're going to do search. So we're gonna go to search. There's an express assistance option. Okay, now let's look at some of the parameters you have to fool around with search. One, you can narrow the search down by a date range from and to, if you wanted to. You can select your conference. In my case, I have access to 2 conferences. I have the Marietta and the Bequest one. I can select either one of those. I can do it for an individual. I can do for just number of people in a household. So if I said I wanted to, this is a test database, by the way, so I have to use 2020, unfortunately. I want to do date range of 01/01/2020 to November 30th, 2020. And let's say that's it. I want to open it up to all of that. So I get a search and it comes up with everything. And as you know, by now, if you click more, it'll give you the next 20, and that's the end of the database. It goes from 21 to 30. Now, if I said, okay, I want that date range, but I only want to see the transactions, express assistance that have household members of 4. So there you go. It narrows down my search there. I could even, and let me wipe that out. If I said, I want to see that date range, but only the ones with food. Well, that's the majority of them. So we'll say gift card, food. So you see how you can use the search, right? Pretty easy to do. Okay. So if you clicked on one, and let's say we did, let me go here. Let me just clear it all out. And I'll do Brittany Kelly. I think 2 T's. Okay, I brought up Brittany Kelly. This is the one that we just got finished doing. And if I clicked on one of the transactions and I wanted to delete Brittany Kelly, let's say, and this is a real practical example, and I don't like the way it works, but it works the way it works. If you wanted to change something, you cannot change it. You have to delete it and re-add it. So if I made a mistake and that gas voucher was actually $30 instead of $60, and I wanted to go back and correct that, I cannot do that. I have to delete it and then re-add it. Okay, so now if I did Brittany Kelly and searched on her, I won't find her. Okay, so that deletion, I wanted to show you the deletion as well. Okay, so that takes care of entering in, searching, and deleting express assistance, going through the express assistance function if you were an express assistance provider. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is for caseworkers, to show you how you could enter in express assistance as a caseworker. So I have a case, Linda Chambers. And to save on time, I brought this case all the way up to this point. I have not advanced to the client tab yet, but I want you to keep your eye right about there when I advance to the client tab. You will now see an express button. So I don't know how many of you have ever noticed that, or you noticed it and said you don't care about it, because typically this is what you're focused on, is to go through every one of these tabs right here. Well, you can do that, and you can still go over to assistance and put in the in-kind just like you did before. But let's say this case, you're only going to give them an in-kind assistance. And that might be food, that might be a gift card, that might be a voucher, whatever. And then you're going to close it out. Why pass through all of those tabs? We're giving you another capability, and that is a quicker way of getting through. So if you click the Express button, you will fall into a abbreviated casework flow. And by the way, this is sort of like a toggle switch. If you want to go back to the normal or the long way of doing it, you can. Or you could click it again, and now you're in an abbreviated casework flow. So like if you were in the long way of doing it or passing through all the tabs, you would still have to, verify the client and everything. And if you click next, you would still update the client, make your changes, just like you would do before. But after the household, the same thing, no different. But this is where it changes. Now you got the Express Assistance tab, and you see the exact same thing that you saw when we did the Express Assistance entry. Let's say we're giving this person food for $60. We're giving them field gems, furniture for $2,000. Okay. And when I hit complete, we're going to close this case right then and there. It tells you right there. Case closed. So you didn't have to pass through all those tabs to get into, enter an Express Assistance transaction. So if you wanted to still open up a case for somebody, so this will appear on the client's past assistance record, by the way. We'll go to Linda Chambers in a minute, I can show you that. But there's your assistance. This is what you gave Linda Chambers for this case. And so if you wanted to, you could still open up the case, go through case intake, take the case all the way up to that client tab, click the Express button, fall into that abbreviated casework flow, a couple of clicks, and you're done. And you didn't have to pass through anything else. It's really neat. So if you wanted to do that, you could enter in Express Assistance as part of a case. Okay? So I'm sure if we went to Linda Chambers, and we looked at her past assistance, we will see all of these. That's what we just got finished entering. Okay? So that takes care of that. That's how you enter an Express Assistance as part of a case. Okay, next what we're going to do is prepare and download a in-kind eligibility report. So now you would need the manager's role to do this. So if you didn't have a manager's role, you wouldn't even see this option on the menu. So if you had a manager's role, you click it, and what you could do is you're basically generating the report for others to see it. So the first thing is coverage area, and here are your choices. You can do it by conference, you can do it by zip code, or you can do the entire diocese, either one. I'm going to leave it as conference. For the time frame, you can do 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or other. And the other is you put in a date range if you wanted to. So I'm going to generate this report. And again, remember my role. I am the manager. I'm generating the report. Okay, now the question is where is Excel here? Okay, so we're going to download. There it goes. So I just downloaded it. And there you go. There's the report. So let me see if I can't grab any of these columns here. I was trying to grab these columns. I can't grab those columns. Anyway, I was going to expand this for you, but for whatever the reasons, cannot grab those columns. What's it coming up saying? Don't show again. I don't know what that is. Okay, well, listen, I don't need to show off the Excel skills that I don't have. But anyway, here's your report, and you can see the value here. You can see the type is over here. For the life of me, I don't know why I cannot expand those columns, but I can. And you can total them if you wanted to. Here's the number of people in the household. You can total up, you can subtotal, you can do anything you want to do. But once again, this in-kind eligibility report, this is going to show you all the express assistance transactions during that time frame, that the parameters we put in, and any in-kind transactions that were part of a closed case. So the biggest mistake, and I get tickets on this, is that I entered in in-kind transactions, part of a case, and it's not appearing on my report. The reason is because the case is still open. When that case is closed, that's when it will appear on this report. Okay?
John?
Yes.
Well, back on Excel, we're past it now, but there was a little strip that said to reactivate the functions of Excel that they had been disabled. Yeah.
Somebody didn't pay theirs. We need a product deactivated. I think this is the free version, to tell you the truth, but
yeah,
that's what I think it is. But anyway, I don't need to. The purpose of this training is not to train you on Excel. I'm the last person you want to be able to train you on Excel. The purpose of this, show you there is a report. You then can slice and dice it any way that you want. Okay, that was really the purpose. But now if I put my provider role, my provider role on, and I went to Express Assistance, I can download that report that the manager created, and that's the purpose. So even if you just had a provider role, you can see that report. You can't prepare it, you can't generate it, but you can see it. So if I click that, I'm going to get the exact same spreadsheet, because that's the parameters that the manager put in. Okay, so that's how you would do that. Okay, believe it or not, there's not much else that I can show you on Express Assistance. It's pretty simple to use. It's a valuable tool used correctly. Like I said, a lot of our users that I know of will use it for their programs because they run them throughout the entire year and they help zillions of people. And somehow they got to get them in. Some of them are clients, some of them are non-clients. So you got to get them in so that they can get recognized on the annual report and the monthly financial report. And this is the way to do it. But Express Assistance has a limitation. The limitation is when you go through Express Assistance, not when it's part of a case. When it's not part of a case, you will not see it on the past as part of past assistance for that client, even though that's an existing client. So that's the thing that you kind of give up. And you have to make the determination of whether or not you want to open up a case and go through all the case intake tabs and all the case work, the case workflow. Although there is an abbreviated way to do that, you have to make that assessment. If you want to make it, if you want to show as part of the past assistance, then you're gonna have to open up a case. If you don't care about it, you go directly into Express Assistance and enter it in. So, questions?
Feel free to come off of mute, John. There's nothing in the chat. So if anybody does have any questions, you guys are free to unmute yourselves and ask him live.
This doesn't change anything as far as our holiday programs. That's how we usually input our Thanksgiving and Christmas and that. This doesn't change anything for that.
Does
We
not
want it
change.
in the program. Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Does not change anything. Now, keep in mind,
Okay,
you're gonna use your Thanksgiving program, you're gonna have your Christmas program. Those numbers, let's say that you had a Christmas program and you helped 100 people or so, those numbers are not going to be reflected on the MFR or the annual report. You still have to then enter them in through here as a Christmas program.
we usually enter them individually on the cases.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, we
That-
do a report and
Yeah.
that's how we've done it. Thank you.
That will do it, sure.
Thank you.
No problem.
What's the difference between the gas voucher and the gas card?
I think it's only a physical difference. Once, I know we've used gas vouchers at Holy Family, and it's nothing more than, you've seen those little voucher books? We write out a voucher to the client, we give the client the voucher. They take it to a local gas station that we have a relationship with, and they gas up their car. That owner accumulates those, sends us a bill once a month, and then we pay them. So we give them a voucher to take to a gas station. Where a gas card is, the physical card itself, and you go to Quick Trip and you would use it. So I think it's, the physical nature of it and how you use it. In our case, we give vouchers and we pay that vendor one time.
Thank you. It's sort of like the voucher you might send to the thrift store.
Exactly.
It would be a clothing voucher instead
Yeah.
of a card or something.
Exactly. Well, the thrift store voucher, as you know, it's an 8.5 by 11 thing, right? That you got to fill out.
Yeah, a form, yes.
Yeah, that's a voucher that you then give to the person who brings it to the thrift store, and then they fulfill those needs at the thrift store. So
Yeah, that's great. This is wonderful. I love this express lane for especially for grouping amounts that you don't want to have to go to each of the clients' bases. This is a very good tool.
So you've never used this before?
No, I have not. That's why I wanted to learn about it.
Good. Has anybody out there had any experience using Express Assistance? And any problems or any questions?
We use it all the time. For all of our food, and we put in Express Assistance.
All of your food that you give to clients, or all your food, period?
All the food for clients, yes. Yes, through our food pantry. The intake person inputs everything through Express Assistance.
Okay, good. Good. Yeah, this actually, of course, I go back to CMS since the beginning, but I can remember how this thing was born. And there was a cry from you, the users, said, I don't want to go through setting up an entire case, go through case intake, go through pretty much 3/4 of casework, just to enter in a bag of food. Is there another way we can do this? And that's how Express Assistance was born, was to give you, the users, a quicker way to do it, but accomplish what we really wanted to accomplish. And where it all comes together is on the annual report and the monthly financial report. That's where we report how much, value we provided our clients in terms of in-kind assistance and how many people we helped. That's where it all comes down to. And there had to be a better way of doing it than going through all of case intake and all of casework to do it. How many of you knew about the shorter path of express assistance in casework that I just showed you, that you can go through casework, but you don't have to pass through all the tabs? Was that an eye opener?
I'd seen it before, but I hadn't known how to use it. So that's why this is great.
Okay, so you've seen that button before?
Yes.
Huh. You know, it's funny. I guess I've been doing it too long. I go through there and I don't even see it half the time. I mean, my eye never even goes there. Of course, when I was preparing for this class, it went there. And I said, yeah, I said, we need to bring this out because a lot of people don't know. They think, well, okay, if I'm only giving somebody a bag of food and I really want to make it part of a case because I really want it to be on their record, I have to go through the entire case management function, which is all of case intake, all of case work. And the answer is no, not exactly. You got to still go through all the case intake functionality, and then you only have to, 3 tabs, 4 tabs, and you're out of there. Closes the case automatically for you. So I think it's pretty neat. It's a good compromise.
Are each of the conferences estimating the amounts to put in there for the food? I was curious on how they do that.
That's a good question. And I'm going to tell you what one conference member told me. He actually is the furniture guy in the conference. So the conference gets a lot of furniture donated to them. And then his job is to then distribute that furniture out to clients. And when he distributes it, he then has to come back into CMS and record that in Express Assistance. I think he said, and I'll get back to you exactly, but there is a guideline, a guidebook, and I'm not sure if it's Salvation Army that has one that would give you estimated values for, like in his case, for used furniture or for clothing. There is a standard that they use. And I think there is a guidebook for that. And I want to say Salvation Army. I know I have it on my desktop at home because I kept it, because he said this is what he uses to estimate the value. But there is something out there that you can use that would give you, a reasonable number where you could pass the red face test if an auditor asks you any questions of how'd you come up with that value.
John, this is Margaret Skeen in Macon, and I talked to that gentleman up in Gainesville, and he sent me that link for the Salvation Army valuation, and I think it's going to be very helpful for us. If you have it, you could send it out to everybody, but it does list all kinds of furniture, and you have to estimate the wear and tear on it.
Exactly. Yeah, then that was it. That's exactly, it was St. Michael's. It was the Salvation Army. And I went through it. It's pretty good. I mean,
Pretty good.
we always struggle, especially with food. How much do you charge for a bag of food? Well, that's in the eyes of the conference, whatever you decide. Some conferences actually weigh it. And there is some algorithm out there that says you should charge X amount per pound. In our case, we look at it, we hold it, we caress it, and we say $40. And why 40? Because we said 40. It could have been 50, it could have been 20, but overall, it feels like about a $40 bag of food, and especially with food prices being what they are today. We also include frozen food in that as well. So we might drop a steak in there, we might drop some chicken in there, whatever. So we just value on the way out, not on the way in, of what we think that bag of food is worth with frozen food. And we've determined it's $40 and it's been $40 for about the last 2-3 years. Now we might change that to 50 one day. But my point is that every conference does it differently. But when you get the furniture, you get the clothing, that's something that you probably do want to look at this Salvation Army guidebook. And because it really does give you some really good information on what's a reasonable value for that furniture, what's a reasonable value for that clothing, so that, you know, you're not too high, you're not too low, you're within ballpark.
John, this is Margaret Skeen again from St. Catherine Drexel here in Macon. I have 2 questions, and we're still exploring all this. The first question is, sometimes our case is closed and then the client comes back and needs furniture, or the furniture transaction takes place, you know, after the case is closed. So we can't go back and add that. We have to just use Express at that point.
No, you go back and reopen the case.
Oh, we can reopen the case?
Sure, you can go to
Oh.
search cases. You put in the client's name or the case number if you happen to know it. The client will then come up, and then you can, then you'll see a button over to the right-hand side. It'll say reopen. And you
Okay.
click the reopen button, and then you just tab back to the assistance tab. And since we got some time, I hope nobody minds. I'll try to do it myself. I'll try to show you. Then try to, I'm sure Linda Chambers has a few close cases out there. That'd be my guess. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so this is a closed case, okay? So you see the reopen button?
Okay.
You reopen the case. Let's go back. Probably should have used this one, but that's okay. I probably should not have used this one. I picked the wrong one, because you normally would end up here and you would have to tab back to assistance, and then you add your furniture. Let's try this again. I picked the wrong case. I'm sure that this might be a good one to do. I don't know. Well, I can't, because I wasn't the caseworker on that one. I'll keep trying here. Hold on a minute. I'm afraid that one of those might be the same. What date is that? 9/27. Okay. We'll get there. Okay, cool. Okay, so I reopened the case, and like I said, it automatically brings me to the complete tab. Now I got to get back here, right? So I click on assistance, click on restart, then add in kind, right? This is what you want to do?
Yeah.
What do you normally pick for furniture?
Furniture,
Yeah, well, there's no furniture. Furniture is going to
Well,
be,
household, clothing, household
Household.
items.
yeah, that's what I was asking you. Let's see.
Up here by it's clothing and households, what it says. Right under
Okay,
bill.
that's when you select. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then you select furniture.
Oh, okay.
You put in the value, and off you go. You got it?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so no, you do not have to go through Express Assistance. You can go back to that case, reopen that case. But when you tab back here and you see a restart button, this is what trips everybody up. They tab back there and they go, and then I get the support ticket says, I can't enter anything in. Hit the restart button. So that's the one that everybody misses, is the restart button there. That will then open up these buttons for you to go ahead and add something, another check request, another in-kind, another gift card, whatever it might be.
John,
Okay?
I'm not seeing the restart button. Would you show it again?
Well, I can't show it again because I already hit it once. I mean, I guess, huh?
Where is it usually?
It's right here. See where my pointer is?
Oh, yes, thank you.
You will see when you reopen this case, like I said, you'll be on the complete tab. You then would click the assistance tab. You will see a restart button right about here.
John, you're calling it a restart button, but it's not. It's reopen.
No, it's not, ma'am. It's
Okay,
restarted.
it says restart or reopen.
Restart. Let me try this.
When you first did it, it was reopened, and then
Yes.
after you reopened it, then it had the restart.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Okay.
trying to say. That once the case is reopened, and the first thing you see, like we did, was you were on the complete tab. Then I tabbed backwards to the assistance tab, and then you saw the restart button right there.
Okay,
Can
thank
you
you.
go through it again so we can watch for it?
Try. I will try. I say that only because I don't know if I could pick the right case to do it. Let me see. Yeah, we'll pick this one. What the heck? Okay, reopen, right?
Right.
Why isn't it letting me? Wasn't I the caseworker?
Assistance.
Huh?
Did you go to assistance from here?
No, it's just not gonna let me do it.
It's an open case, I think.
Oh, was it an open case?
Yes.
Was it? I thought I searched on closed cases.
I don't. Oh, but I see open at the top there.
No, but I see right here, closed assistance provided. I only selected closed assistance provided. Okay, let's see now, which one haven't I done? Which one haven't I screwed up? We'll try this one. Okay, reopen. Okay,
There you go.
okay, so we click the reopen button, right? Right.
Mhm.
We're on the complete tab, right?
Right.
Right.
I want to go back and I want to add an in-kind assistance for furniture, right? Right.
Right.
I click assistance. What do
Ah,
I see
see it.
here?
Thank you.
Restart.
You got it?
Yeah.
Click the restart. Now the screen is opened up
And-
for you to go ahead and enter in your furniture transaction.
Okay.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank
That's
God.
good.
I couldn't find another one. Sometimes, yeah, this is a test database. It's like a box of chocolates. I never know what I'm going to get here. So, okay, so that answers that question. Do we have any other questions?
Well, this is Margaret Skeen again. I have another question. I think you've answered it. I just want to be clear in my mind. So we want to enter our food pantries. Do we put that in each pantry and just call it food pantry? It's 200 people perhaps, and we put the estimated value in, and that's all we do each time?
Sure. Yeah, you could enter in,
That's it.
I'm sorry.
I said, that's all we don't want to list all the people.
That's, well, when you're entering an express assistance, you cannot list all the people. Right?
Well, that's
So
good.
Here
We
you have
have
it.
it.
Here you have express assistance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to call this food pantry?
Yep. Okay, pantry's the last name. Okay.
Well, I don't care. Do you want to make it the first name? Want to make pantry the first
Hello?
name? Yeah, you want to make pantry the first name? Hello?
You were frozen. Okay.
Okay, did you want to make pantry the first name or last name, man?
It doesn't matter, so we just put in
Okay.
food pantry.
Let me just call it food pantry.
Oh,
So I
that's
won't get
fine.
messed up.
It's okay.
So there's food pantry. And so these are people that visit your food pantry. Do you normally enter it in like every week or?
No, we haven't. I hate to admit, we're just learning all this, because we just got into the council last year. It's been
Ah.
a struggle for us. So
Okay.
we would put in the 200 people or whatever it was that came to that pantry that day.
For that day.
Right, because it's
Okay.
twice a month.
Okay.
So it'll be,
So you give them food, right?
right.
Do
it's
you value
bag.
that food? What do you value?
Well, we value it at $50 a bag because we put meat and fresh eggs and milk and
Okay, is that about 50?
per bag, yeah.
So 50 per bag. So how many bags did you give out? Those, you helped 200 people, but you didn't give out 200 bags, did you?
No, yes, we have been.
Oh, you gave out 200 bags.
Mhm.
So a bag a person.
Yes,
Some people
This
with
is,
larger
this is
families
number,
have two
this is
bags.
number of people like in a family. So.
oh, so we
like-
have to add to that?
No, no. So let's say this is number of members. So let's say that you had 30 families that you gave food to. And let's say there were 3 people in each family. This would be 90. Okay?
So we have to estimate the actual number of family members, not just the bags of food.
That's right. This is
Okay.
the number.
Okay, I'm glad I asked the question. then.
Yeah, this number of family members.
Right.
Because.
So if she
what's-
had the 200 bags, but there were an estimate of 3 household members, that's 6,000.
Well, it wouldn't be for,
That's six, wait a minute, that's 600.
No,
Then
no,
you could put in 600 there, and that would represent the number of households, right?
yeah, well, let me say it my way, and then you can say it your way. You know, your way is gonna be the right way, but let me just try again. This is the number of members in the family. See where it says household?
Mhm.
Household number of members. So if you gave away 200 bags of food, but those 200 bags of food went to 30 families, and you just approximate that it's 3 per family, there's 90 members of household members. That's the way that you would calculate it. So you're not trying to be exact, you're trying to be close. Okay, but
Okay, and
that
we
is,
know the numbers of per household, so we can get that.
okay,
we can-
good.
We
Okay,
can
then
be
if you
fairly
get-
accurate.
You get the accurate number, and let's say instead of 90, that 200 bags of food represents 110. Okay?
Okay,
Because you got the accurate numbers. So this is the number of people in the household, has nothing to do with number of bags. Okay? I'm not hearing okay, so that tells me we're not.
no, I'm with you, but when we get to the estimated retail value, we would use the number of bags times our.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you gave
Then you
away,
would use 10,000.
then you would use
200,
10,000.
Or whatever, yeah, because it's been very expensive.
Yeah,
Right.
then you would put in 10,000. So what this is saying is that you helped 110 people with those 200 bags of food. You helped 110. And that's exactly the way you need to look at it, because on the annual report and the monthly financial report, it only tracks number of people helped. So it's going to add that 110 to whatever the counter is at that time. So you will get credit that you helped 110 people, and on the monthly financial report, your in-kind value would be $10,000. You would never even see the 200 bags.
Okay, and I could put a note in the comments that said it was
You
200.
can,
Yeah.
you could say valued at,
Yeah, well, I can put the bag number and the value, so.
valued at $50 per
What
bag.
if what if you wanted to, use a range so that, say you wanted to do it like you were mentioning before, like once a month, and you wanted to put a range in there instead of just like one date? What would you suggest then?
Not following you. There is no provision when you're entering in Express Assistant to put it in a range. What you can do is you could suffix this if you wanted to with the month of March.
Okay,
I mean, for you to know, because when you do a search, you could then search on pantry-March,
mhm,
like, let's say we did that.
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, if you want, I mean, that's an idea. It's up to you, but if you wanted to do a search.
Then you can estimate for the whole, then you could put in like for a whole month and not have to do it, every week or every day.
Yeah, that's what I would do, but then again, I wouldn't. There you go. We just brought it up. So you could always do a search on it and say have pantry-January, pantry-February, March, April, and so you keep it by month. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you
Yeah, that
can-
makes sense.
I
Yeah,
think you could
good.
do this too, and I'm gonna try something, see if it works.
John, I have a question on something.
Yeah, it does work.
It's Charles. In the past, when we would do food pantry, there was something that conference support had placed out there, like you would enter $100, just a flat 100, if somebody had come to the food pantry. But there was also a number out there, I think it was $1.71, $1.72, which is the evaluation per pound. Does any of that come into play with what we're doing here?
It does, it doesn't. If you're valuing the food that you're given by pound, and so you got to value it, you got to multiply times how many pounds of food you gave times the value per pound, and that would be the estimated value.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's what you do,
Yeah.
and again, we just arbitrarily say $40 a bag. But
yeah, I think conference support, when we're doing Saturday food pantry, I know this is a little different. I think there was something they had put out not too long ago that to enter the client on the client's record, like $100. So I don't know if with the higher prices now, maybe the 100 is a closer estimate. It's just a thought.
is $100 a bag?
Well, it was for each shopping trip. They had said something about that before. I don't know how that comes into play with this or not.
Well, here's how you determine it. First of all, you got to ask yourself, do we make this part of a case or don't we? That's be your first decision point. If it's part of a case, then you need to go through the case management functions, case intake as well as case work. When you get to putting in value, if they're saying for that client, because they only had one trip to the pantry, just put in $100, you can do that, no problem. Now, if the determination is we're not making it part of a case because we're not going to open up a case on everybody who comes through the food pantry. Well, then you would come through Express Assistance, just like we did here. You would put in the first name and the last name of that person. You would put in, food for $100, just like you would if it was part of the case or not part of the case. If that's your guideline. that everybody gets charged $100 for a trip to the pantry. I mean, again, you got flexibility to do it either way.
How much per pound would you be giving, Charles, for meat though? Because it certainly ain't gonna be 171 a pound. Do you have another amount for meat?
Charles? I guess he's not there.
I think he's on mute.
He's
He
mute.
doesn't know he's muted.
Oh, okay. Charles, unmute yourself. Okay.
Or maybe
Well-
maybe one of the other conferences have an amount that they're giving for meat for their pantry.
You know, I'm from Transfiguration. I guess we've been underestimated. We charged $25 per bag. I think we're gonna increase our price.
What's that? Peanut butter?
Yes, I
That's
think that's
a
good.
big bag for only one jar of peanut butter. Okay, come on.
Yes, we're gonna increase from this month.
This is 2020,
I know,
not
2020.
1985. And I think $40 is low for what we're charging these days, what we're valuing the food at. And again, we only value it on the way out. We don't value on the way in. There are some conferences that do both, by the way.
We just
They-
valued it out, not in.
That's what we do. But there are conferences that value both in and out.
Mm.
And to
How can
me-
you do both in and out? And then you're double dipping if you're counting how much money you have and then is your.
Well, they only record it on the way, they only record it on the way out, but they want to know how much on the way in, and I don't know, and look at what went out. To me, it doesn't matter what came in. It matters what went out, because obviously it had to come in to go out.
Right, right. So that makes sense. That does make sense.
Yeah, so we got it from somewhere. And then again, some food pantries go out and use conference funds to supplement their pantry.
That's right.
Mhm.
We do.
Not all of it is donated food.
Yep.
Right.
Some items they just are not getting in and they want to provide it to their clients. So they use conference funds to go stock the shelves.
Correct.
We do
that's-
that for eggs and some meat and, because we have to supplement. We want to give them eggs and meat.
Right.
Well, I have yet another question. I'm so sorry. It's Margaret from Mackin. At the end of the year, when you run this report and you've put in all these household members that have been helped, you'll get a large number. But now a lot of those will be people who have gone to the pantry repeatedly. Those are not discrete individuals helped. That's the total number helped over the year. I just want to make sure I'm understanding that.
Okay, so are you talking about the in-kind eligibility report?
Yes, but at the end of the year, we might have 1,000 people, but it was only, it was a lot smaller than that if you did it in terms of discrete individuals.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Sure do. Okay, so then your question is what? What's going to show up on the annual report?
Yes, and will that,
All those thousand people, in other words, each one creates an entry on the annual report. So John Pepe comes to visit your pantry in March and you give me food for $50. Boom. And your report just got updated $50. That 4 people in my family got helped. Okay. Then I come back in September and you give me food again, and it's $50. Just updated the annual report for another $50, and another 4 people helped. Although it was John Pepe, one John Pepe, he made 2 trips to the pantry, and we helped him one time that actually helped 4 people, and another time that helped 4 people. So on the annual report, it would say number of people helped would be 8.
Mhm.
And the total value of in-kind would be 100.
But it's duplicated people.
No, that is not duplicate. I mean, food's a resource, right? It's money. It's
Okay,
like
okay.
saying that someone comes back to you twice in 1 year for rent. You're gonna give them rent, in January, you're gonna give them rent in September. You're not duplicating it.
I think it inflates. I know a lot of grants, they want discrete help, which would be really difficult to do in the food pantry situation.
Well, and again.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I know
yes.
what you're saying, but I'm respectfully disagreeing that it's a duplication. It is not a duplication at all. Now, for a grant, maybe they consider it to be a duplicate. In that case, you can go back to the eligibility report and you can sort it by client name and then subtotal if you want. So you get all the John Peppies of all the trips he made, and you'll see, the value of food that you gave me and how many people helped. And then you could take that number and say, we helped John Peppy, treat it as 1 if you want, for $2,000. That's up
Well,
to
I'm
you.
just saying, yeah, I know, I mean, I'm happy to do it this way. And I just want to be able to answer the question. So if somebody asks me and they say, wow, y'all had 1,000 people that you helped. And yes, and some of them are the same people over and over again each month, but it was, yes, 1,000 people. So.
Yeah, well, to me, that is no different than helping 1,000 people with rent. And some of them were the same people we helped over and over again.
Because you might help the same one more than one time. I agree.
There is no different. It is a value that we're providing. In this case, it happens to be in-kind was given to us. In the other case, it's rent. We used our conference funds to actually pay for it. But we help John Peppy 3 times in the year with rent and utilities. What's the difference of helping John Peppy 3 times with rent and utilities versus helping John Peppy with food and clothing and furniture?
Right. It's just going to be a big number. I just want to be able to explain it.
Yeah.
I was in line.
I'm sure our CFO, Cheryl, would agree. We are not double counting.
Yeah, and you're not looking for discrete individuals, which is the language that United Way uses. Okay.
Well, and again, you can use the eligibility report to get your discrete individuals.
Well,
right?
not for the pantry, because we're not going to put in the 90 people, we're not going to put in the individuals. So.
Right. If you're using the express
We
without
wouldn't have
names,
that.
you won't get,
okay.
you won't get that. So.
Okay.
Well,
right.
we do have it that we know that they came, but that would be a tremendous amount of work to do. And I don't think we want to go there. So I'm happy with this.
Okay. We got more
Sorry.
questions? Okay. No, that's great. I mean, these are the kinds of things that these sessions are designed for. Is, they take a turn and go a different way, and real life examples of how do we handle this. And there is a way of doing it in CMS. If we think about it, it may not be always pretty, but there's a way to handle it in CMS, based upon your situation. Let me get some feedback on I talked earlier about us running the Ask the Expert Q&A series, for casework, for treasury, and for case intake. What do you think of that? That was just something we came up with, saying rather than a kind of like a class on a specific topic, it'd be just bombard me with questions based upon whether it's casework, case intake or treasury. What do you think of that idea versus a specific topic?
I think that would be a good session because I do have questions.
Okay.
This is Joanne from St. Philip Benizi, and I have not been doing CMS that long. I've looked at all the training videos, but still I run into problems periodically. So if I could write down my list of questions and then ask you during one session, I think that might be helpful.
Okay, good. Yeah, we thought we would take the training there next, because like I said, the way we kind of designed this whole series of classes that we've been offering, training we've been offering, is very topical. You know, like express assistance being a topic, pledges being a topic, client merge being a topic, rather than doing, you know, which I did do, a beginner's case intake. And there seemed to be an appetite for beginner's caseworker as well, which is the whole flow of casework, which I will do. We just need to schedule it. But sometimes just focusing in on a specific topic, we get more value out of it than trying to do one big thing like case intake or one big thing like casework. There's a lot of moving parts with that versus a specific topic. Like we did attachments, uploading attachments. A lot of our users didn't even know you can do that, let alone how to do it. They didn't even know that you can do it. So that provided an awful lot of value, that people realize, oh, I can do that as well if I wanted to. But any kind of suggestions you have, please send them to Amanda. We are open to whatever gives you value. That's what we want to do. We just don't want to make these things up to hear me talk. I want to make sure that they're going to provide value back to our users, or else we won't do them. Anything else? Have a wonderful afternoon, everybody, and thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Thank you,
John.
John.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, bottom right. And for all, and lean for all there.
It's touchscreen, you can't.
Oh, is it?